All right.
Nate Tepper,
Hello.
2014 grad of the Isenberg School of Management and CEO of Set the Set, an app that connects touring musicians with their fans. So welcome.
Thank you, Charlie, for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your background. Are you a musician?
Yeah, I've been playing in bands since I was 12 years old. I played 300 gigs across the country. I even used to play here at UMass at the club called Lit every Thursday night.
And what do you play?
I play guitar mostly, yeah.
And so how did Set the Set get started? How did the idea germinate, and then how did you get it off the ground?
Yeah, so obviously been playing in bands, went to Isenberg and ended up getting a job at LinkedIn after school and moved out to San Francisco. And me and a bunch of buddies who worked at LinkedIn ended up going to a Dave Matthews Band show. We've been seeing Dave Matthews since we were kids. And we drove 2 hours to get to this show and spent some ridiculous amount of money on lawn seats. And at the end of the show, we looked at each other and we were like, man, that kind of sucked. He didn't play any of the songs we wanted to hear.
Well, he's got such a big portfolio.
Yeah,
of
he's
songs.
got a big catalog, yeah. So, and obviously Dave can play any songs he wants to play. But I just couldn't help but start thinking, what if the fans could pick the set list? And I was pretty serious about it. And my roommate, who also went to UMass, is a full stack engineer, and we put together a product where fans can request songs for their upcoming concerts and just started calling managers.
So one of the things that strikes me is that you have put together a blue ribbon group of advisors, including some people on your board, and then you got a senior guy from LinkedIn to invest. How did you pull that off?
I think that's just one of my skill sets is meeting people. I really believe in building and maintaining meaningful relationships with people around me. I think it's one of the most important things. And I really care about those relationships a lot, and I want to learn from people. And just having that mindset and attitude really helps you meet and become friends with great people.
And so how did you meet, for instance, the former Larry Mestral, who is the former COO of Virgin Records?
Yeah, who's also a UMass guy, actually.
Well, there you go.
I met him through this guy, Andrew Clendenning, who used to actually work for Isenberg here. And he said, hey, you got to talk to this guy, Larry, like you're starting something in music. And then I drove down to LA just to meet Larry and just started building a relationship with him from there. So, getting introduced to people is really important.
So you've developed an app for artists to connect with their fans. And one of the things that we've talked about in our course is there's certain products that are nice to have and other products that are must-have. Is this a must-have product for the artists?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
At its core, we're a data company. We call it direct-to-fan marketing, where we help connect artists directly to their fans. And that is a must-have for artists these days because when an artist posts on social media, their average post will only reach 5% of their audience. Beyond that 5% of their fans, they actually have to pay to reach those fans. So what we're doing is we're helping artists actually figure out who those super fans are and own them so that they can reach them anytime. And that's the future of music, is being able to reach your entire fan base at any time.
And
directly.
so what's to stop somebody like Ticketmaster, who's already got a head start in collecting data as to who's attending concerts, what's to stop them from going into your business and just swamping you?
Yeah, absolutely. Two things. One is that Ticketmaster, while it does have a website, they're not really a tech company. They're not run by engineers. They're actually owned by Live Nation, which is a massive promoter. So their whole department in building new technology is something they're very slow at and not great at. The other thing is that our model actually goes directly against their business model, where they believe in owning all the data themselves and not sharing it with the artists, because that's what they are. They're a promoter. They have a database of lots of fans, and the artists need Ticketmaster to promote to their fans.
But you've got 2 or 3 engineers, and what's to stop Ticketmaster from going out, hiring 2 or 3 engineers, and changing their policy to actually monetize that data, which a lot of companies are thinking about doing?
Because then the artists won't need them anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, the artists need them.
So
right now.
explain that. Explain how could you potentially make Ticketmaster obsolete?
Yeah, so Ticketmaster, owned by Live Nation, which owns 70% of all of the venues in America. Those are the seats. That's why Ticketmaster is able to sell those tickets, because they own the real estate and those seats. The artists have to go through Ticketmaster, really Live Nation, in order to sell those tickets to their fans. Because one, they don't have the fans and they don't have the real estate. In the future, if the artists actually had their own fan database where they could sell to fans directly, they could choose to start to go outside of Ticketmaster venues, Live Nation venues, and start doing things on their own. And it would take a long time, but ultimately this whole direct-to-fan model where the artist doesn't have to go through Ticketmaster, they can go sell directly to the fan, that's disruptive.
So in fact, you are making Ticketmaster obsolete so that I don't have to pay all the obnoxious fees and extra charges and mailing expenses and all of that I'm accustomed to paying Ticketmaster.
Exactly right. I hate paying all those extra service fees.
Yeah. Now, how about the whole world of ticket brokers? Another annoying group in the whole world of
bots
of music concerts. Where do they fit into this structure?
I mean, everyone's trying to fight that right now. That's been a problem. Actually, I read since Charles Dickens. Literally, when Charles Dickens was going on a tour and selling tickets to his readings of his books, there would be scalpers outside selling tickets to his show. So this is a century-long problem. And maybe one day we can solve it too.
All right, so if Ticketmaster is not the competition, in fact, you're going to put Ticketmaster out of business, who is the competition?
Yeah, the competition is mostly smaller companies such as ToneDen, TuneSpeak, another one called Hive, where they're really kind of tapping into this new mindset of direct-to-fan marketing and helping artists collect data.
How so? How are they going?
They're doing it mostly through contesting. So basically an artist will post a contest, and in order for a fan to enter the contest to win free tickets, they'll have to sign up with their email address or their Facebook.
I see.
And the artist will collect data. That's great because, you can collect a lot of emails as an artist that way. But it's really hard to tell how valuable that data is because you don't really know how much of a fan they are. Where what we're doing is we're really creating an authentic connection between the artist and the fan, where the fan gets to influence the artist's set list, and it's a part of their experience, and we know they're going to that concert. So
it's
we know
vetted because they're going to the concert.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So I know that you've been giving a lot of thought to revenue models, and the investor deck talks about charging artists $99 to, I guess, $250, but of late, you've been rethinking that.
Yes, correct. So basically what happened is to date, we've been charging artists about $99 a year. And we then realized we had one artist who paid $99 end up collecting 30,000 fan email addresses.
Which artist was that?
The artist called Sleeping with Sirens.
Okay.
I had never even heard of them. But they have some super fans out there.
And if you haven't heard of them, I haven't heard of them.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. Anyway, we realized that this artist paid us $99 for 30,000 fan emails, super fans who are going to concerts. If they sell 3 pieces of merch to 3 fans, they're making their money back and getting an ROI on what we're selling.
So the new model is what?
So the new model is much more scalable, where artists have the ability to directly message their fans through our system as many times as they want per month. It costs them 5 cents per fan per month. And that's great because it's scalable.
And they pay as they go. So if you don't deliver, they don't have to pay much.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they're paying based on the number of fans that come in through our system.
All right, so you've got a bunch of artists, and in fact, a lot of them I have heard of. A lot I haven't too. But how are you getting to the artists?
Yes. So originally I just made a list of my favorite bands, and I just reached out to them, like the Killers and Third Eye Blind, etc. And they started saying yes. And I actually gained access to a database of 5,000 artist managers and their email address and phone number. And I have a sales background, so I just will call all of them.
So you made 5,000 phone calls.
Well, not yet.
Yeah, but you're working at it.
We're working at it, yeah.
No, but you've got Tim McGraw, you got a bunch of country artists, You've got the Killers, you've got Muse. How did you get all of those artists to begin with?
To begin with, I reached out. What's interesting, what's happening now is artists are reaching out to us because they'll see other artists are running set-to-set campaigns, and they want to know how they can do it too. So for Muse is a good example. that came to us because they had heard about us and said, how can we run a campaign with you guys?
And are you going through the managers, or are you going direct to the groups?
It's direct. It's with the management.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's directly with management. We don't even have to work with the record labels, which is amazing. We work directly with the artist managers.
Okay. What kind of reception do you get? I mean, what's your batting average with the managers?
I'd say it's about 80% actually.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't start that way, and the real reason is because at the heart of what we do is we're a data company, and this is a need to have for them, as we talked about, where they need to have their fan data. They need to own and monetize their fans.
And what those who did not go with you, what was their pushback?
So the biggest pushback again is about the set list, because we started this where artists will actually play what the fans want, but some artists are really artists and they care a lot about it, and aren't really willing to give up their set list right away.
And so those artists who are with you, to what extent are they following the fans' wishes, or just simply doing their own thing?
It varies.
Yeah.
For example, Muse played 100% of the fans' requests. That's how they wanted to do it. We have other artists, Tim McGraw, who looks at it regularly and will kind of pick certain songs here and there. Luckily, a lot of the top songs end up being what they're playing anyway. So our goal ultimately one day is to really make it so the fans actually influence all of the songs at a concert.
And so if the artists don't follow the set list, do you then get cranky fans? Do you get complaints from the fans saying, well, I thought that they were going to play the songs we want?
Yeah, we actually don't get. You get all positive responses. It's funny. Our customer service email, people think we're the band, and they send us these long stories and thank you notes saying, thank you so much for letting me request these songs. Like, here's why I want to hear these songs. Thank you so much for playing them. And yeah, it's giving the fans a voice, and they understand even when the artist doesn't play their favorite song. It's part of the experience.
So are there any, maybe not regulatory issues, but are there issues with music rights or the like that you have to deal with?
We don't deal with any of that,
Mm-hmm.
thankfully. Yeah, that is
Okay.
no.
So you've also got a pretty aggressive business scale up. So you're going from in the first year 150 artists to 800 to 6,000 to 28,000 and nearly 60,000 by I think the year 2021.
Yeah,
that's pretty aggressive. How are you going to get there? What are the challenges to getting there?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest challenge is finding how to reach all of those artists and where they exist right now. We know that on Bands in Town there's 500,000 artists signed up for Bands in Town, and we've actually worked with Bands in Town a bit to reach their artists to get them signed up on Set to Set. So we think there are multiple distribution strategies to get these artists on board. The biggest one to start, though, again, we have sales backgrounds. You have to start by doing things that don't scale right away and reaching out to these artists one by one and getting mass that way. And then word of mouth is really important.
Okay. And so are there any particular growth drivers? Is it getting to the key managers? What are the things that are really going to accelerate that very rapid growth in the later years?
Yeah, so we're creating a referral program. We think that's going to be extremely effective. The music industry is actually a pretty small industry. You'll have managers who manage 10 bands, one manager for 10 bands. So it's all about getting those managers, signing up all their bands, and having them tell their friends through our referral program.
Okay. Are there trade shows that band managers attend? Are there trade organizations and the like that you can reach them en masse?
Yeah. I mean, we go to South by Southwest to meet all the managers. It's those are interesting, but I really think this is something that can catch on quickly just through word of mouth.
So, as an investor in the company, what are the biggest risk factors in investing in Set the Set?
I mean, I think we talked about it. Even though I'm explaining a strategy to get all of these artists on board. This is our strategy. It's also a hypothesis that we believe will work, and we're going to work hard to make it work. But that's the risk. 50,000 artists by 2021 is a big goal. So the risk is that we don't hit that, and that it ends up being much harder to reach that many artists.
How about the end game? What's the exit strategy? Are you already thinking about who and positioning yourself for a possible acquisition of the company?
Yeah, we're thinking about it. We have relationships with Ticketmaster, the head of music at Ticketmaster, David Marcus. We have relationships with people at Spotify. All of these companies are really interested in the data we collect, and seeing that we have this relationship with artists and fans that's really authentic. They really care about fostering that too. So one day that could be potential acquisition for Set the Set. The other option, which one day I want to turn something into a massive company, is we expand to other verticals, maybe sports, where fans can influence certain things. Because in any live event in the United States, no one knows who's in the audience, and that's the data we collect. So
well, I think that's a great note to finish, and we can only imagine what that vertical, some of those verticals might look like. So, Nate, thanks so much for talking to me, and we certainly wish you all the best.
Great, thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it.